David. How are you doing today?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Do you remember in our last meeting we discussed a warm up exercise that can be used before beginning an individual or group counseling session in order to quickly assess a client's state of mind and how eager they are to go forward with the session? I call this intervention red light, green light. It can also be used during supervisory sessions. Would you like to try it?
Sure.
Based on this chart that follows, look at those. The red zone is high tension. You're feeling a lot of emotions. The yellow zone is intermediate stress and tension, but not affecting your thinking. And the green zone is very calm. Which zone would you say you're in right now?
I would say at this time I'm on red. I guess there's something bothering me, but I wasn't going to mention it.
Well, I think it's important if it's bothering you that we discuss it.
Okay. It's just that I feel that I'm facing a lot of criticism in my life right now, and I'm having trouble dealing with it all.
That can be difficult, especially if you're not hearing many positives. Did I tell you what a wonderful job you're doing? I think you're right on target with where you should be right now. There's definitely a steep learning curve in becoming an effective counselor. But David, you're right where you should be. Did you know that we all have an inner critic that we have been dealing with since we were children?
I know, I never really thought about that.
Yes, and it's often the harshest critic in our life. Fortunately, there's a good technique to deal with this inner critic. It's a form of cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. It's important to remember that our inner critic is often not logical, and that it produces irrationally negative interpretations and assessments of ourselves and other people. We can therefore use reason to disempower its negative messages and replace them with more positive thoughts. Addressing this problem will require a little homework on your part. I would like you to use this dysfunctional thought record worksheet to record any negative thoughts you are internalizing over the next week. Let's take a minute and go over it now. So on the far left of the chart, you just write the date and time, and then the second column is the situation that led up to having the thought. In this case, you're recording, of course, all your critical thoughts. The third column is where you put the thought and how much you believe it. And then the emotion that you're feeling with it in the next column. And then what distortion do you think is taking place? Do you think you're over-exaggerating? What do you think is happening with the thought? So take some time to analyze it. And then an alternative, more positive thought about yourself. And then come back and see, how much you're believing that original thought now, that you've replaced it with a more positive thought. So it's correcting their cognitive distortions. Do you have any questions about this tool?
No, it seems pretty clear.
David, I was wondering, have you ever heard about the concept in supervision of addressing parallel processes in the supervisory relationship? This can happen when you pick up on a client's feelings, and you might reenact those in your relationship with your supervisor. By any chance, do you have a client who's feeling that other people are being very critical of them?
Yes, I do. I have a young lady who is a single mother and has had trouble with opioid addiction. And she says she always felt like her family has been very critical of her and not very supportive of her as a single mother.
Oh, and it's very likely she has internalized this criticism and is also very critical of herself. You'll probably want to introduce her to the concept of the inner critic and how to address it. You could use the same worksheet I gave you. I know it seems strange to you that you would be picking up on this and internalizing it yourself, but it's actually very common, especially for counselors in training. When this happens, as it seems to have happened in your case, it is called the bottom-up parallel process because the problem starts with the client and works its way up to the counselor in training and then into the supervisory relationship. It's actually good that we've caught this, and now we can address it to the benefit of all concerned. I'm looking forward to a good resolution. How are you feeling, David?
I'm feeling better too, and I hope the CBT will help both me and my client feel better about ourselves.
I'm sure it will. It has been very effective in helping many people.